This is such an exciting opportunity to be with two bright, sharp, smart young leaders in our industry. But we're not going to just talk about structured settlements. We're going to talk a little bit about the NASTA's Women's Caucus and the two new members of the leadership team, Erin and Sylvia. Could I ask each of you, just if you wouldn't mind, share a little bit of information about your own background and what drew you to this new leadership role with the NASTA Women's Caucus? Erin, why don't we start with you?
Sure. So yeah, I was honored to be asked to step into the leadership role for the Women's Caucus. As someone who took over one of the original female brokers' role, I was her succession plan. It's been really neat to see how women in the industry have grown, not only as case managers, but also consultants. So I'm very honored to support women in the industry and hopefully have a place that they come and feel that, they can ask any question and feel that they can have a place to be within NASTA.
Fantastic. Sylvia, how about you?
Well, I've been in the industry since 2017, and like Erin, I was invited to join the leadership team a few months ago. But honestly, I've been drawn to NASTA since like my first 101, 102 experience in Vegas. And since then, I've kind of immersed myself into the Women's Caucus, since they've always planned such fun events and they've been welcoming and open to collaboration. So I'm excited to help keep the fun going. And yeah.
Sylvia, I remember meeting you at the 101 in Las Vegas. And when I first met you, and after a few minutes of talking to you, I realized I was speaking to somebody who just sparkles. And you were great. You're a lot of fun to talk with them. And it's been a lot of fun to get to know you more and more over the years. Let me ask you if you can name one thing that really excites you most about being part of the new Women's Caucus leadership team. Sylvia, you're up.
All right. For me, I would say I'm excited about like getting closer to the women and making more relationships and connections. Like, since I'm in Atlanta and everyone's spread out throughout the US, I'd like to be able to at least get together as often as we can. I mean, this is my circle, my chosen circle. So
yeah, and it's my understanding that for many years we tried to launch the Women's Caucus, and Paula Rubenstein thankfully was really able to get it up and running. So huge role to fill. Following in her footsteps, and she's still obviously very involved with our board liaison. But I'm just really honored that, they've set a really strong foundation for the Women's Caucus. Like Sylvia said, we're able to meet other women within the industry and from other brokerages that we probably wouldn't normally associate with unless we shared a case together. So it's a really great forum.
You mentioned Paula Rubenstein, and she's just a force of nature. She's just an amazing contributor for the industry and leader. And her effort at getting the Women's Caucus established, up and running, is really just spectacular. There's something really exciting coming up at the annual meeting in just a few weeks. The Women's Caucus has some really, really incredible events planned for the NASTA annual meeting in New Orleans, April 28, 29, 30, May 1. Erin, what are some of the really exciting events that you've got on the agenda?
Yeah, so we have the inaugural summit where we're going to do some networking lunch and have some neat speakers. So right when you arrive, we're going to have a summit, and then we also are going to do Foster Love. The Women's Caucus has taken lead with our charity for NASTA, and Foster Love, children, when they move home to home in foster care, they usually, take their possessions in a garbage bag. So this Foster Love provides the creation of birthday boxes and decorated like duffel bags that are filled with essentials for these children to move homes if necessary with more dignity. So we're going to all kind of come together and use our creative skills. I saw one really cute bag that had daisies on it. So get creative for that. And then we also have our dinner, which will be at Brennan's. And we're planning some really fun New Orleans festive theme for that.
Sylvia, can you tell me a little bit more about the Leadership Summit? What's your anticipation or expectation as a result coming out of the workshop that you're planning? I think it's for the 29th
That's correct. Everything is the first day when we get there.
Yes, you're actually kicking off and starting the entire 2025 annual meeting.
29th, correct. Tuesday, the 29th.
Yeah.
And I think we're still sending save the date. So anyone who wants to come can still sign up. Like Erin said, like this group is growing so quickly. Like I think we're over 200 members currently. And this group is open to anyone, but the Women's Summit specifically is open towards women just because we wanted to create a safe space for women to speak openly. And it's going to be super interactive. So I hope people are excited to get to know each other better.
Tell me a little bit, and I should let you know that I heard from an inside source that there's something called branding brilliance, marketing yourself and building a powerful brand. What is branding brilliance?
So Courtney at Independent Life has graciously offered to help the women in the group brand themselves and market themselves better, and also help women decide how to advocate their marketing dollars in specific ways. So I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be great. And Courtney has a lot of fun things planned there as well.
Yeah, and in addition to that, the industry has changed so much with a lot of our clients working remote and at home. So we've had to pivot the way that we market and get in front of our clients and grow the industry. And so that's kind of the focus that we'll be looking at for that summit.
I think you're really fortunate to have someone like Courtney Barber come and make a presentation. She is really terrific. I got to know her a little bit with the most recent CSSC program in Texas, and I thought her paper was excellent. So she's a real sharp, smart individual. Great choice. What is the networking power hour?
It's going to be an intentional lunch where we can all get to know each other and maybe sit with people we wouldn't normally have just like known. And it's something we're still developing, but there's going to be a lot of intention there. So I hope all the women who are hearing about it come, because I'm looking forward to meeting people I've never met before. And I hope they come up to me.
That's great. Erin, I heard something, and again, I'm just picking up things that I hear from people around the industry, something that you're bringing into the program called the art of the schmooze. And before you respond, I wanted to let you know that's all I ever do all day long is schmooze. So tell me what the art of the schmooze is going to be on your program.
Yeah, I haven't been super involved with that specific topic. So I'm excited to hear what it has to do. But yeah, basically you could teach the course as a lobbyist, is what I'm assuming.
I can add a little bit to that. So this is an idea that I had. I'm like, okay, so after Courtney comes in and she teaches us how to market ourselves, what next? So I was hoping we could all get together, and I don't want to give away too much again, but the intention of the Art of Schmooze is, what are we going to do once we get into the room? What are we going to say once we're possibly at mediation or speaking to a family? So instead of one person having all the right answers, it's going to be another collaborative event so we can all learn from one another.
I think that sounds spectacular. Can I ask a quick question? Is this only for women, or can men peer in from the outside? How can men participate?
I think the invites are going to women, but if men are interested in coming and supporting the caucus, we're always open to that as well. Just like the dinner, we do have supporters of men of the caucus. So it's geared more towards the women's caucus, but yes, we are open to if men are interested in the topics or supporting the women's caucus. Yes, we are open.
Well, as one of the men who support the women's caucus, I would encourage you to block us at the door. You don't need men to tell you the art of the schmooze. I think what you're describing sounds like a spectacular workshop, which I think is only enhanced when, as Sylvia pointed out earlier, giving women in our industry what was regarded as a safe space, meaning a confident space to be able to reflect and think and contribute. Keep it to women's only. This would be my advice.
So I think the timing is 12 to 2, correct, for the summit. And then we're going to begin the Foster Love charity at 3 in the same room.
Let me ask you with that service project, because you said a little bit about it. How did you guys pick that service project to focus your time, energy, your resources on. And I heard what you said a little bit about the bags, but of all the things that are out there, of all the people that need time and attention, you picked this one, which I think is fabulous, by the way. Tell me, how'd you end up with this project?
Yeah, it was actually a suggestion of Stephanie on the Women's Caucus board. She had heard of them and just thought it would be a really wonderful organization, and so asked me to lead in coordinating it. So I've been working with Debbie Sink to solidify that, and then we're waiting to hear which organization in New Orleans is going to benefit from them. And so we're excited to hear who will be the beneficiary of our creations.
Is this something that is the Women's Caucus making a contribution? And what's the contribution? And what are you paying for?
The contribution for the bags?
Yes.
Yes. So that's all been covered. And if people would like to make donations to the cause, we will have a QR code for that once we figure out which organization that is.
Well, I just want to make a quick announcement to let the two of you know, as the two new leadership members, I'm making a $2,000 contribution myself right now in support of.
So nice.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
It's not for any reason other than the two of you are so spectacular, but I love this idea. I still don't think you should be inviting men to your workshop, but I'm going to make a $2,000 contribution, and QR code or a check, I'll make sure that takes place.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you.
let you be security at the door then.
I love that idea. So the Women's Caucus is such a great collection of individual leaders, and collectively it's a powerful force inside the industry. How did the Women's Caucus pick the best restaurant in all of New Orleans to have your dinner? Brennan's is my favorite restaurant in the country. How'd you pick Brennan's?
Yes, Stephanie and Erin Eddy have, planned things in New Orleans before. So we had a list of restaurants and we were trying to figure out, what vibe we wanted and all that. And then Brennan's ended up being the top.
Sylvia, have you been to New Orleans, Sylvia?
Only for a few hours, just like driving through, and I made a stop. So this will be my first time really hanging out. So I'm ready to make some memories.
It's a wonderful place that needs a lot of love these days, and we're going to bring it to them. That dinner at Brennan's should be just spectacular. I recall in years past that the dinner that you've hosted is a must-attend event, but the problem is there aren't any seats because it's so popular. I hope you have a wonderful dinner there. I think it's going to be great for all of you. What are your individual goals for the caucus? So I'm not asking you what are the caucus's goals, but what are your thoughts, your goals, your objectives as new leadership team members? Sylvia, what would you like to see as a goal that you're bringing to the caucus this year with your new position?
I hope I get to encourage more case managers to join. Like, I've personally reached out to some of the women I've just met over the years and worked with, but I really would like some of the new leaders to come in and kind of just participate to the caucus, because this is our industry. This is what we do. These are the people who would understand your best and your worst days. So I would just love for more case managers to be involved and feel like they have a space to build community.
That's fantastic. Erin, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Sylvia. I think case managers, a lot of the best consultants I know started as case managers. So a lot of case managers are the future of our industry. And I think that this is a perfect forum to grow and meet and grow your career as well. Like I said before, I think with Paula started a really beautiful thing, and it's up to us to continue that legacy and grow it. I just want it to be a place of collaboration and belonging for women in the industry. If
you were to suggest, do you see goals over the next year for the caucus? And you both mentioned case managers. Is it to try to bring the newer, younger people into the industry, into the caucus, to get them wider, broader exposure inside the industry?
I was just saying, yeah, I think you hit it on the head, Eric. That's exactly kind of our focus. like Sylvia mentioned, we have 200 members. We're getting emails from Christine Logan every day that there's, a new member that just joined, which is super exciting to us. Sylvia and I were both brought on as ambassadors, where we kind of divided up all the current members, called around, asked, hey, what are we doing? What do you want from us? We're really open to how we can help and support the women in this industry.
Well, if you had one message here at the end of our podcast interview that you'd like to leave with all of our listeners about the Women's Caucus, but also about the upcoming annual meeting in New Orleans, what would that message be?
I would say the Women's Caucus organization welcomes all women as well as the people who support them. And I would hope that people would sign up for our newsletter so they can find out about our upcoming events that I'm getting involved in and planning. Because there's going to be dinners, annual invites, as well as member-only events. And I would just love to get more people involved since we're planning some really great things.
Yeah, men like you, Eric, in the industry that have supported our growth, I'm just so appreciative for that. And again, I just want to make sure that the women have a forum of support and collaboration as we continue to grow this industry.
Well, I've been around the industry for a while, and while I'm not a consultant, I'm not a professional in the business in the way that you two are, I've witnessed firsthand the positive role and leadership that the women in our industry have played from the very beginning. But the Women's Caucus has been just an energizer bunny. There's been so much energy, so much enthusiasm, so much growth in our industry, personally and professionally. And I think a lot of it's attributed directly to the women who started this caucus, the women who are keeping it going, and the two of you who are now adding to it as part of the leadership team.
Yes, it's very humbling to be a part of it.
Well, I look forward to seeing both of you in a few weeks in New Orleans. I look forward to hearing all about the success of the workshop. I think that this is the first workshop the Women's Caucus has ever hosted. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're trying to focus more on in-person events and getting away from the webinars and all that. So that's kind of the goal of the summit.
And that's, so exciting to hear that, because we, as an industry, I think it's fabulously important to get together once, twice a year in person. It is awfully easy to say no to somebody in an email or in a text. It's a lot harder to say no to someone in person. So collaboration, working together, that's what the Women's Caucus has brought so effectively to the table for the entire industry. I want to congratulate you and the entire Women's Caucus for your success to date. And I'm so enthusiastically excited about the successes coming up in the future. So congratulations to the two of you on being added to the leadership team. I look forward to seeing both of you in New Orleans in just a few weeks.
Likewise. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.